Hi, good evening everyone. Today is the day 31 of Gear Up Mains Answer Writing. In this week, we will cover the economics questions, the GS3 question that was asked in the UPSC previous year. This program is specifically about to discuss the previous year questions. We are providing you the question in the morning in the Telegram groups of the Edukemy, and I am discussing the same question in the evening at 6 p.m. from Monday to Friday. So let's see what is the today's question. Today's question is why public-private partnership required in infrastructure project? This is a simple question. Why the PPP is required in the infrastructure projects? The second part is examine the role of PPP model in the redevelopment of railway station in India. In the second part, we need to be focused on the redevelopment of railway station through the PPP project. So the question is having two parts. The one part, why the PPP is required for infrastructure projects. Second, the PPP role in redevelopment of railway station in the country. So in the body part, we will write about the PPP, how the PPP help in the infrastructure development. Then in the second part of the question, we will address about how the PPP model is helping in the development of the railway, like some of the government projects related to the railway. First private station that is built on the PPP is the Kamalapati railway station of the Madhya Pradesh. So these things we will add into the second part of the question. As usual, we will divide the question into three parts. One is the introduction. Second is the body part, and third is the conclusion. In body part, we will write these two subparts here, and in the conclusion or in the way forward, we will mention about the Kelkar committee report that was suggested related to the PPP in the railway. Okay, so let's start with the introduction. Exactly what you will write in the introduction. In the introduction, you can define the PPP. Public-private partnership is a type of partnership, a long-term partnership between the governments and the private player for the development or the redevelopment of any of the infrastructure project in the country. In the example, you can mention about the railway project, and the second part of the question is asking us about the railway. You can mention about a private railway line in the Gujarat that was first developed by the private player in India. So this in the introduction you can write. Or you can write the introduction in some of the other way related to the PPP model. After the introduction, you can write in a very small, in 10 words, the model of the PPP, model of the public-private partnership. There are the different kind of the models, like the BOT models, build, operate and transfer. Then the other type of the model, you will mention in the introduction itself. Then we will start addressing the body part of the question. According to the question, the body is asking about the two parts. The first part is saying about the need for the PPP in the infrastructure projects, how the PPP can help in the infrastructure projects, और PPP का इंडिया में क्यों आवश्यकता है, why the PPP is a need of the hour for the infrastructure projects. So the first point here is bridging the gap in the infrastructure financing. The main issue related to the infrastructure projects in India is the financial issue. There is no good availability of the finance to the government player. So the private party are entering in a project with the government of India in a public-private partnership where they are giving their money, they are investing their money for a long-term investments, like the development of the road infrastructure in the country, which is basically on the PPP models. So this is bridging the gap in the infrastructure financing, which was an issue in India related to the infrastructure projects. Faster completion of the projects. If any projects is done by any of the private player, it's think that it will complete on time or before time. Where in the government related projects, it's always delay. There's a delay of the 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. So we can expect a faster completion of the projects on the PPP model, because during the sign up of the contract between the government and the private player, there is a timeline given in the projects. Improved outcomes. After the projects, the government is tying up with the private player which will operate the projects, and the operation will show the improved outcomes of the government projects. It will reduce the burden on the government as the private player is operating it, private player is maintaining it. So there is a reduce the operation burden on the government. Innovation, the private player are introducing their technology, making the project more viable, operating the project in a sustainable way. So they are introducing their innovation into the projects. So these are some of the points why there is a need of the infrastructure projects. Expertise and the professionalism, even with the government expertise, the private player expertise added up during the PPP projects. So these are some of the requirements of the PPP projects in the infrastructure in the country. So you can write this in the first part. Now we need to address how the PPP in the railway can help in the redevelopment. So before going to the redevelopment, we will write about some lines, the redevelopment project in the country. So let's see. Recently, the central government introduced the station redevelopment plan of government. The station redevelopment plan of the government. The first is the redevelopment of the 60 railway station. The government identified the 60 railway station in the country which will be redeveloped with the PPP, and the authority which are leading it, the Rail Land Development Authority. So you can write about the RLDA, Rail Land Development Authority, the redevelopment of the 60 stations which are identified under the public-private partnership by the Government of India. This project is two components. One component is the mandatory state developments, and the second is the station estate developments. So this project includes the two mandatory things. One is the state development and the station estate developments under the PPP projects of the railway. What will be the benefits? If these stations will be benefits, if these stations are built by the PPP and the PPP, there will be a smooth and the hassle-free experience for the travelers. Like if you ever visit the Rani Kamlapati railway station, which are first railway station built under the PPP projects, you will see the change in the station. It's also help in the commercial development at the railway station as well. So this is the station redevelopment plan of the government. So before starting the second part of the question, you will write about the station redevelopment plan of the government. Now come to the second part, which is the main requirement of the question in the second part, the role of the PPP model in the redevelopment of the railway station. How the PPP play a very important role in the redevelopment of the railway station in the country. Number one, better facility to passenger. If the government is developing or redeveloping the new stations or modifying the old station under the public-private partnership, so it will facilitate the passengers. It will provide the better services to the passenger, better time to the passenger, and the good experience. Like the experience at the airport in the India, the similar kind of the experience the government want to create on the railway station as well. So the better facility of the passenger. The second part is the optimum utilization of the states. Under this project, the government will optimum utilization its resources, optimum utilization of services under the PPP projects. More revenue to railway. When the new projects are developed on the basis of the PPP, they are having the commercial area, they are having some of the advertisement areas as well, they are having the cafeteria, and they are having some of the other shop inside the railway station. So it will increase the revenue of the government in the station. There will also be some of the food cafeteria types can be in the railway station. So it will increase the revenue. Even the passenger, they will charge some of the fees to the passenger for using these amenities at the railway station. Adequate fundings. After tying up with the private party, the government will not be short of funding because the investment by the private players, and they can maintain for a longer time the railway station. So like the first of the example, the Rani Kamlapati railway stations was maintained, and this is the first public-private partnership by the central government in which the PPP, the redevelopment of the Kamlapati, was built up. Then the security, when the private players are involved in any of the development projects of the country, so there is no issue of the security. In some of the cases, there may be lapses, but overall, they improve the security in that area, security of the station, security of the infrastructure projects, and the efficient management as well. So these are some of the benefits when the railway station were built with the help of the public-private partnership, and they will provide these kind of the amenities, these kind of the benefits to the passenger, and they are helping the redevelopment of the railway. We write about the positive sides, but we need to list some of the negative aspect of the public-private partnership. So let's see what is the negative side of the public-private partnership in the railway development. Issue with the PPP model in the redevelopment of the railway station in India. Loss in employment. When we are developing the projects under the private players, so there is a loss in the employment of the government. There is a decrease in the employee in the government areas. So this will directly impact the young students who are preparing for these exams. So there is a loss in the employment. Increase in the user fee for the customer. They will charge up some of the fee for using the amenity, for using the waiting hall, for using the some of the other services which are provided under the station. So it will increase the user fee experience. New players will enter in the market, like one of the private lines was built up in the Gujarat. Apprehension of the corruption. There can be an increase in the corruption when they are allotting the projects to any private player. Less focus on the welfare, like the private players specifically focus only for their benefits. They will focus only for their benefits, and they will charge the higher amounts of the fee to the passenger. So they are not focusing on the where I'm not saying they completely 100% will not focus on the welfare, but there will less focus on the welfare as compared to the government. No past experience in the PPP model. In the case of the railway development, this is the first time the government is tying up with the private players for the redevelopment of the railway stations. This is so the results we can say after some time we find out some of the lacuna in these projects. So we will wait for that time. So there is no experience of the government in the redevelopment of the railway projects. So this you can write in the challenges related to the public-private partnership model in the railway development. Now let's see the conclusion. What you will write in the conclusion? In the way forward, even you can write about the way forward. You can write about the Kelkar committee report. Kelkar committee reports with respect to the railway development, with respect to the public-private partnership, you can mention there. In the conclusion, you will write a balanced conclusion. The public-private partnership for the infrastructure projects is a good idea, but there is an involvement of the government in the projects is as well required, because we cannot land the complete project under the private governments, because it's not a they will not focusing on the welfare, where the government are making the projects and they're focusing on the welfare. But for the overall infrastructure developments, a strong public-private partnership is required for the country, so the infrastructure growth can be happen on time. Okay, so this is the question. Any doubt if you people have, you can mention in the comment section. I will suggest you please write your answer, and we are also evaluating your answer. You can submit to the Edukemy website and under the master program. So we will meet tomorrow again with the new question related to the economy. Till then, please try to revise the previous questions. We already discussed the 30 questions. This was the 31 today. Please revise the question, understand the demand of the question, exactly what the question is demanding. If you're understanding the question demands, means you almost complete the 30% of the questions, then you need to be right. After reading the question, brainstorm what you will write the first, what you will write the second. This is also having additional marks. Please try to enrich your answer with the example, with the data, so it will increase your half an marks, 1 marks in the each answer. Okay, so we will meet tomorrow again at 6 p.m. Good luck. पढ़ते रहिए, अच्छे से रहिए. The weather is it's like a rainy season, so please there is some of the diseases related to chikungunya, dengue and prevalent in this time, so please be safe and okay. Thank you very much.